If you like your treats gooey and chocolatey, well, then this is the bake for you. My salted peanut caramel mud pie is a rich chocolate pudding oozing with a layer of salted caramel and a crunchy topping of peanut brittle. What more could you ask for? To start this recipe off, what you need to do is make a peanut brittle. Now, I'm just chopping some peanuts which are salted, and over here in this pot I've melted down some sugar and some water to create a really nice caramel. Now the key thing when you're making this caramel is not to stir it, because if you stir it the sugar will become crystallized and you won't get that beautiful golden colour. So I'm just going to finish chopping these peanuts and then I'm going to place them into our caramel. I'll just plop them straight on in. So now I need to swirl my peanuts about, but I also have a baking sheet which I've just oiled a little bit, and what I'm going to do now is transfer this across. So just swirl your peanuts around in that mixture. So just pour that straight out onto this oiled baking sheet and just tap it out. Just spread it across until it's set. So we can set that behind and allow it to cool completely. Now, for this cake, we are going to need a salted caramel sauce. Now what I have here is similar to what we've just done, and that's creating a caramel from sugar and water. So I'm going to get that on a high heat. Now at this point, my caramel has become really rich and golden, and just make sure that you don't go too much on your gold colour, because otherwise it can actually burn and you get a bitter taste in your caramel. But this is pretty good, so I'm going to knock off the heat. And at this point, I'm going to stir in some cream. Now, it really is important to stand back because this will spit and bubble. So straight in and mix. Just give it a good swirl. And it hisses and fizzes and bubbles quite violently, but don't worry, it will work its way down and it'll sink down completely. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract in here at this point as well. That goes in. So just give that a quick swirl. And when it becomes a little bit more calm, we're going to stir through the butter and create a really creamy and rich caramel sauce. Now that this is calmed down, I'm going to put the heat back on, just for 1 or 2 minutes, and I'm going to stir through that lovely butter. So just place that in, and I'm going to add a tiny pinch of sea salt, just to counteract that really rich sweetness we've got in there, and then stir all of that through. So once that butter has melted down completely, I'm just going to take it off the heat and allow it to cool. So now we need to talk about this cake batter. It's a little unusual in the fact that it doesn't use flour, it uses almonds, so it becomes quite a dense chocolatey cake. So to start off, I have some melted chocolate and butter over here, which I've just simmered in a little pan of water, and this has become really silky and glossy and exactly how I need to start this pie. So grab a big bowl, spoon this out. Now it's just a case of folding through our dry ingredients and our egg yolks. So ground almonds go in here. Our caster sugar goes in here as well. And then those egg yolks. And now all it is a case of folding these through. And it changes consistency into this really thick chocolatey batter. So now it's time to whisk up our egg whites until we have nice fluffy white peaks. So into a standing mixture like this, and we'll just pop our egg whites in. And that's all you need to do. You just get your egg whites in here, whisk until they're really light and fluffy. Okay, I have beautiful white fluffy peaks now. I'm just going to fold these big voluminous white peaks through our chocolate mixture. So just scoop it out a little bit first, and we'll just cut that through and then cut through the whole rest of it. And this method is great because it's actually gluten-free because you don't have any flour in there, and instead your ground almonds form the basis of the consistency. So just fold through the rest now very, very gently to ensure that we keep a lot of the air that we've folded through there. And instantly when you add them in there, you can see the change in the batter from a very thick mixture into something very light and airy. This is now evenly combined, so what I need to do is transfer it to a spring-form tin lined with some parchment paper. Now, because we have that wonderful thick layer of caramel through this, we need to add just 1/3 of the mixture to start with. So just spread it to the sides and almost create a little dip. And now at this point we can just spoon in some of this caramel sauce. Now when you're spreading it, do try and leave about an inch around the sides in order for the chocolate batter to encase it, and you get this wonderful layer of salted caramel. And then top this off with the rest of our batter. Oh yes. Okay, this looks pretty good. It's ready to go into the oven. Now it goes into the oven at 180 degrees for 35 minutes. There will be a little bit of a wobble in the center when it comes out, and it's not the end of the world if the caramel starts oozing out. When we add that salted peanut brittle on top, it is absolutely divine. So I'm gonna get this into the oven on a middle rack. My cake has come out and it has cooled just enough for me to loosen around the edges and transfer it to a cake stand. Now, the best thing about this is that when it comes out of its cake tin, it oozes all that lovely caramel out the sides. Like this, it's beautiful, but to finish it off, I have that wonderful peanut brittle, which has now set, and you get this fantastic little gold pane of peanuts. So what I'm going to do now is just, with a rolling pin, give it a good bash. So just tap all those little bits in, and I want them to be big enough just for you to have a tiny bit in each mouthful. And now, just crumble up a few of them and just sprinkle it over the top of this for a wonderful finish.